This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so this is all what we discussed yesterday. So I don't want to get into it again. We spoke about shell, we spoke about file directory, we spoke about cat, pwd, all these basic things are all done. CMD, mkdir, rmd, touch. Okay, this I will teach you today. This is something that we missed out. Not missed out in the sense like completely missed out, but it's a kind of good to know kind of. Okay, so oh shit, come on. Okay, so basically to give you the background, what does touch if I give 2, 3 arguments in the same command do? Touch 1 space 2 space 3. What does it do? It will create all 3 files. Okay, so in between 1, 2, 3, I give a space, correct? To differentiate between 1, 2, 3. Supposing that if I want to have a file name itself with the spaces, how do I do that? See, I don't want to create 3 files, but I just want to have one file, but that one file should have a space. Precedence. What does it mean?
For the second name or backslash.
Why? If suppose I want to have something, a file name called 1_2_3, should I have to give still a backslash character? No. Okay. If I want to have a file name with 1@2#3.
What the special character? Why should
You are coming closer to the answer. Special character. Okay. Is space considered to be as a special character? So what those characters are called? Meta characters, right? So there is a difference between a special character and a meta character. So for you to people use or create files with some meta characters, that is the time you need to use a special character called /, just to say, to negate the meaning. Okay. I don't actually need a meta or a space or a @ or a hash or something like that, but I need something like meta character to be as a part of my string or to be a part of my file name itself. You're shaking or you're able to get it or shift this side. Okay. Okay. So see, all my files are not without spaces, right? So there is no problem. Now if I say touch 1 space 2 space 3, it will create 3 files, right? How do I know? Here, all are in series 1, 2, 3, right? Don't bother about what the content in the file I am trying to keep and all. I want everything as one file. So what do I have to do? While I create this touch 1 space 2 space 3, I also give a what? // to negate the meaning of space. Okay. So here as well. So now my file name would be 1 space 2 space 3. Okay. It is something like this. Okay. Now I can insert the data, all those things I can do. But I don't want to create 3 files. That's the only reason. Okay. So I'll remove these files because I don't want to have them. Just remember, that's all. It's like if anyone asks about meta character, you should be able to tell that okay, I use a / character to negate the sequence or to give you a kind of a special meaning to it. Okay, that's all. So with that, what is being covered? Echo question mark is covered. It tells you about this one. Okay. Okay, I'll speak something about head tail also. Okay, today. How do I tell head? Let me create a file first, or let me use the one that is already existing. I think test.txt has some sample data. Okay, it has something, so we'll reuse that one itself. For now, don't bother about Vim, how do I push data and all, even if you are not aware, I will come to that level so that you will now understand that how do I use Vim editors and all. Okay, but this Vim command is generally used or invokes an editor which gives you a provision to push some content into a file. Okay, nothing else. I will tell you how to insert, how to all those other things later on. Okay,
Yeah,
but
hi.
right now,
Uh,
hello.
sorry to interrupt you. Did you share your screen by any chance? I'm unable to see it actually. How
Yeah, it
about
is
other
shared.
online guys? Are they able to see?
Yes, I can see the screen.
All right. So
Can you
something I supposed to do.
start your GoToMeeting or machine so that you will be able to get to.
Oh, okay.
See, what
Uh,
I'm all I'm trying to do is like populate some 30-40 lines kind of. I don't know how many lines are there here. Okay,
I think I need to join again. It's same.
okay, I have 16 lines here. Okay, now I'm interested to print only the first 5 lines of my text file. Okay, my interest is not to see all the 16 lines. If I give cat command and pass the file name, what happens? All the content, irrespective of how many lines it is, everything gets printed on the screen. But my interest is only to see the first top 5 lines. That is the time when I use a command called head. Okay, head and file name. File name here would be my test. Okay, by default, it will display how many lines? No, I think it is 4. By default, it is 4. Okay, but suppose if my interest is only to see 2, then so I have to give some additional parameter again. So what would be my parameter here? To mention that I have, my requirement is only to print the first 2 lines. Number, n means number. So 2 lines of which file? Test.txt. That's all. Only 2 lines get printed. The same, if I want to print the last from the bottom, okay, head gives you from the top. But if I want to print from the bottom, it is tail, opposite of it. Just the English meaning. Just remember that way. Most of the commands I teach would be, I'll give you the explanation as well so that you can immediately recall to the command.
Sir, in case of Linux operating system, when we are using this command, by default it is showing 10 lines.
Which one?
Header. Yes.
I'm coming to that. Why? It depends on the flavor again. Okay, I am right now using Ubuntu. You might be using Red Hat. Someone might be using Fedora.
In that case, we are not using hyphen n. If I am using a head hyphen head space minus type, it will display hyphen.
Correct. It will only display 5. The usage is the same, but by default, my Ubuntu gives me 4 lines. For Red Hat, it might be 10. I am not by hearting all those values. I just give it out a try. How many lines it displays, whether it shows me relevant data or not, is all I am bothered about. Okay, if it doesn't show, I will increase the number. I have anyway an argument to use, right? So the thing here to understand is what command to use, which is appropriate. Okay, are you able to do your task? That's all. Okay, I have an interesting point to continue on your question. Okay, suppose that I write a shell script using some head command. While during the time of testing, I test it using a Ubuntu box. There, I need not to mention minus n4 or minus n10 or something like that, right? But my source code is being taken and used on a Red Hat machine, and I should expect the same kind of output there. The default value being used here is 4. I should also expect the same thing there, but what happens there? 10. 10 lines get printed out. The moment I get some output and that is fed to as an input to some other command, I will get a varied output. my program will not be successful. It might flunk, it might stall. I don't know what happens, right? So that is the time you need to check for environment or flavor specific also. Okay, those are the kind of things that you need to check before you roll out a Linux binary or something like that. So you have to put all these things into consideration while you program. Okay, remember that point. Okay, so head is done. Head will show you the top lines. Similarly, tail also might show you the same 4 lines only from the bottom by default. But if my interest is to last 3 lines, I will say test.txt. The usage is that. Okay. Now, understood till here? Any doubts? Nothing? Okay. Let me increase my lines from 16 to some 100. Okay. And then see what the difference it is. For that, I will again modify my same test file. Okay. Oh, sorry. I think I haven't written this content. That is why it was showing me only 4. Okay. Now if I write a hmm? Okay. This is also a good way. You are able to see some error. What is it telling? Hmm? Okay. Forget about all that thing. The thing to note is like, suppose that 2 people are modifying the same file.
Yeah.
File writing is not straightforward in Linux. There is something called a swap file that will get created as a temporary thing. Okay. So it tells me the previous instance of mine, I killed the session, but Linux still thinks that another user is still modifying that particular file. Who is that other user again? Ubuntu itself. But it will not treat it as the same user as me. Right? There you should understand 2 things. First thing is multi-user thing. Proven? Right? Second thing is it creates a temporary file called .swp, which means that there is a swap file. It's not like a Windows notepad file. You write it on the same notepad, save it, quit, or exit out, or you can say the save kind of thing. Okay. So here what happens, we need to remove this particular swap file or else it keeps on bugging. Okay. Here you can either say what? You can say abort and then continue, or else you recover something and all, but I don't want to do all that things. I'll just say quit. I will now say it's a hidden file. I think I need to remove my leg, else it will. Okay. There exists a hidden file. Okay. This file will not be seen again directly, just like your normal file. While you do some intermediary operation, that will be like in hidden state. Okay. All that I need to do is remove this file. How do I remove? Is RF required? Not required. RM minus RF is only for forceful and recursive delete. Okay. But just for normal delete, you can still continue with RM itself. Okay. Now if I try to open the test file, opens the file straightforward without any errors. Okay. Good that we are seeing this kind of errors also. Okay. End insert. Okay, I have 73 lines. Okay. Now, if I say cat of test.txt, what happens? It displays all the lines. But what happened? You see here. Yes, it will show me only last few lines, which my screen is able to show me. Right? It has some restriction. But if my interest is also to look at the lines which are like from the top, there should be a provision, right? Okay, that provision is available through a head command. But head command, what does it do? I should know how many lines I have to see. I should hard code kind of, but it is not giving me a kind of flexibility to have full control of my file. So that is where I will say more and test. What do I do now? Hit enter the same way, but what happens? It opens up from line number 1 till here and tells me, see, I am only 41% of the file. There is still file remaining. Okay, but if I want to continue, I have to say space. The screen, you see that it will scroll up. Correct? This behavior is from top to bottom, right? If I want to reverse the behavior from bottom to up,
And shift G, it will go to the down.
why all that? Less can I use?
Yeah.
More means the opposite, less,
Yes.
right? So, test. Now what happens? The file opens up from the bottom and there is still lines above it, which my screen is not able to
Actually,
show.
what happened, the Ubuntu and Linux are behaving differently. In Linux, if I'm using less, when I'm just searching an error in the log file, I use less. Okay, less in the file name. Then it will open the file. It will open the file from the beginning. For that, I'm using Shift G going down, like bottom line. Then I'm using like
Shift J is for scrolling the page.
Yeah.
Okay, Control B kind of in Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm using like for records for productions we are using N. If I'm using N, then it will
Next, N is for next. Okay.
Then I'm using like capital N, yeah, for record search. Capital N or something.
I'll come to the shortcuts. You are fully confused between what shortcut to use when. Okay. But first understand that it is not Linux. The flavor of Linux is creating you some confusion.
Yeah.
Okay. It is Ubuntu versus Red Hat or Ubuntu versus Fedora or something else, but not Ubuntu versus Linux. Okay. You are using in company. Yeah? Okay. It might be CentOS or else Red Hat. Red Hat Linux. Okay. In corporate, we only use Oracle, Linux, or else CentOS, or else it is Red Hat. Only these three standard flavors. We don't.
For some application we are using also Sun operating system.
Sun is gone right now. You are using still the legacy versions of it, but no one right now at this present age is using Sun Solaris. Sun Solaris machine is different.
Yeah.
I'm telling you about the Linux flavor. Okay. So I'll tell you something else. When I discuss about Vim, I'll clarify all these questions. But for now, it is less and more. Okay. So people who joined online, you are able to get through the advantages of head, tail, more, and less, right? The disadvantages of yes. Okay, perfect. These are very basic commands, but useful while debugging. Okay, debugging when you see some logs and all, which is like some lakhs and lakhs of lines will get populated. So that is the time you need to use all these sticks. There are some more, I'll tell you in the process. Okay. Which command? While giving the head command. No, it will only show me the 10. That is because I didn't write the file. I just quit the file. Okay, now if you see head by default, test might show me test. See, 10 lines it will show. How many is it showing? 10 lines. Okay, it is same. But if you see these kind of differences, it is because of the differences, the way the flavors are rolling out their features. Okay, if in case, okay, or else it is nothing to do with your usage and all remains the same. Okay. For now, I am coming into Notepad++ to check the lines and all, but I will tell you shortcuts for or commands also to figure out how many lines, which line you are in, how many lines of total file it is. I'll all come to it. Okay. Okay. Now see this one. There is a little complicated case that we will see. Not complicated, use case kind of. Okay. How many lines are there for me? Test 73. Through the commands like head or through the commands like tail, what am I able to do? First 10 lines, bottom 10 lines. Okay, fine. Through more command, I will be able to open the entire page just like how I open the file for editing through Vim or something like that, or Emacs or whatever tool it is. But if my interest is to print or to see line number 43 to 45, what logic would you use?
First we are using head hyphen 43.
Hmm.
It will display all the 43 lines.
Yes.
Then I'm using the tail command, tail minus 3.
Yes,
It will
right.
display last 3 lines.
I got your answer, but there is a concept to explain, pipe, right? So what happens in head minus n 43 test.txt? First 43 lines is been populated. Okay, fine. I got some output. Now, my interest is not this. My interest is to gather only those set of lines 43 to 45 or whatsoever, right? So what happens now is I have to give the output of the entire thing to something else. Okay, else I will not be able to function. That is the use of pipe. Okay, so pipe means a bar kind of, which you will be see just below the backspace character in your keyboard. Okay, so I will use the same command, head minus n43. Which file it is? Test.txt. Okay, I will get some output by executing this command, but my interest is not to execute and then write it into Notepad, cut, paste and all. I have to feed this input of this command or output of this command as input to my next command. Okay, what would be my next command to filter out? Tail. Okay, tail, what? Okay, suppose my interest is only to see last 4 lines. I will be able to see some 40 to 43 or whatsoever. Okay, now what happens? It is printing everything, right?
No, from 39 line onwards.
How would I know? Sorry. Last 4 lines is this only. It got you the correct output. Okay. Just because the lines are all similar, I am not able to make out. Okay. If there is varied text, you will be able to make out. Okay. You got the concept of pipe, right? So the output of one command is to be given as input to another command. Okay. Suppose if I want to give this output to some other command again. Again, the same usage, right? Usage doesn't change, commands do not change. So what I have to do? Again, pipe and then say some other command. Suppose my interest is to figure out number of lines that I'm able to print. Okay, I will say word count minus L. Okay, it will tell me I'm printing 4 lines. Okay, so remember this pipe is used only if my interest is output of one command is to be fed as input to my next command. Okay, so here what is happening? The output of this is fed as input to this. The output of this is fed as input to this. While we are here, let me also explain what this WC is, or else I have some more questions. word count. Okay, WC means word count. Word count of any file, suppose test.txt. It will give me this output, 3 numbers and a file name. Okay, what does this first one tell about? Number of lines of text available in the text file. Okay, the next one speaks about 612. Which one? Number of words in that particular text file. Even space is considered as word. Getting it? And then this one is number of characters. Okay, suppose WC is giving me this all 3 output, but if my interest is to figure out the number of lines alone, okay, that is the time I press L. Line, L is for number of lines. If my interest is to find the number of characters, WC minus C, but I have to pass that file name as argument. Okay, then it will tell me this, whatever I am interested in. Okay, that is how you use the word count. WC is for word count. Getting it? Next, ELS and okay, not this way. Okay, let me explain about backticks later. Okay, so this particular command, if I come back again, is this a successful one or a failed one? Successful one, right? So what should be my exit status? 0. Let's execute the same command and then say echo $?0. Suppose I give something like grep7, which is like a wrong command. Okay, now what happens? 1, because it is a wrong command. I am trying to do a wrong usage of grep. Grep usage is what value or term I am searching for, and I should also pass another argument called where I am searching. Okay, so that is the wrong thing. That's why I got an error output. Okay, next, negate echo head echo. Okay, clear date calendar. This is all done. Okay, now we'll talk about something called as source command. There is something which we speak about source. Okay, so before that, let me create a text file with this. Then test. For now, don't bother about this one. All I'm trying to type is some echo statements. Okay, some pwd commands. Individually, each line will have one Linux command. Okay, if I put it in proper fashion, what I told that script would be as shell script, bash script, whatever language it is, Perl script, Python script, or whatever. Okay, the same thing I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, but this is a text file. It is not a Perl or a whatever. It's not a Perl or a Python file where my first line, I'm not telling anything that it is a bash script, it's a Python script, or it's a Perl script. That statement is called shebang statement. I'll come to it while I teach, but I don't provide anything. So it becomes a normal file. See, if you say, it's a normal file. Okay, but my interest is to execute this particular normal file itself as some source code file. Okay, which means like it is a, I want this file to be treated temporarily as a script. Correct? So what do I do? This scenario comes when I want to execute all of my environment variables as a set or something. I create a text file. All that I do is source and that file name. It gets executed. My environment variables are all set. So that is the advantage of this source command. The way to use is source is the command, file name test. It will execute. Just because I had echo statements, it is throwing something here as output. In reality, as my example, I will not have print statements and all. My interest would be to add path variable, add Java home path, or else add something else and all. all as one set. So that is the time I don't want to print. But for showing you some example for you, I just add some echo statements and all. Else you will not see this running text also. Okay. And this command needs to be run at the time of environment variables set execution, or else the other time what I can think of is source. Suppose you did some tool installation like Ansible, Docker, or whatsoever, and then even then, like for Jenkins, you need to set the Jenkins home path. For Maven, you need to set M2 variable, M3 variable, M2 home, M3 home, depending upon the version and all. Java, if you have 10 installations on a single machine, all that Java versions need to sit in some path variable. It becomes a tedious task to go individually, go each time into the environment variable path and then attach to the end of the string all that. So that is why I maintain this text file. I append that particular text file at the bottom saying that this is my new path, and then I run source. That's an easy thing for me. Okay. As a DevOps engineer, I'm lazy. I look for only shortcuts. This is the way. Okay. That's the thing of the source command. Understood? Any questions? Nothing? These are all basics and we will be using them very frequently once Adam starts your Git classes and all. Okay. But before then, I want to cover up all in Linux. Online who joined are able to get the source commands usage, right? Or any questions you have on that?
Yeah, Nirmal, I got it.
Okay, fine. That's Alok, right?
Nandish.
Nandish. Nandish.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's me.
Okay. More in the sense like Mithun, what is that more mean? Do you have question on more or you want me to explain the more command? Last part.
Source file.
Okay. See, this particular text file name test or whatsoever file it is a .txt file. I didn't append that .txt, but it is a normal text file that I created. Okay, it is not a source code file. But my interest is to run the plain text itself as source code. Okay. In general, what happens? I will be having something called as 1.pl. Okay, or 1.py or 1.rb for Ruby. This when I save, it becomes a source code file. Not straightforward, but I have to add one more line saying my first line in this should be shebang statement. Okay. For people who know a little bit of programming, I'm telling what happened. No string under cursor. Why is this going this way? See, I will tell something like this or with warnings. Okay, the first statement like this in any source code file, it will define which language I will be using my rest of my program. So that will tell me, okay, this is a Perl file, this has to be compiled using some Perl interpreter and all. But the other side, which file I created? File name test. Does it have anything like that here at the top of the line? No. Right? It's just a text file. Without the first line, the shebang statement is what we call with the hash and exclamatory mark and the path to the binary or interpreter. This file also doesn't know which source code interpreter to compile this source code, right? So even this file is still a plain text file for Linux, okay? But my interest is to execute this normal text as source code. So that is the time I use a command called source. Okay, and then say what is my plain text file. Okay, file name test, and it executes something for me. Okay, that's the usage of source. So it will good to listen. I didn't understand, Mithun, what you want to say. Okay, fine, you understood. If you have still questions, if you are not able to catch up, post the question in the group or post me a one-on-one message. I'll reply again and try to explain with some other example or else. Okay. But this is this. We installed something like basic utility yesterday called tree. The command here to catch it is apt and apt-get. Okay. These are what we call it out as package managers. Okay. For Ubuntu, we have apt. Okay. Apt means another packaging tool. Full form of it. Just remember that way. Okay. For Red Hat, it is yum. Yellow dog update manager. Okay. For some other flavor, again we will have Debian packages. There is some other command and all. Okay. For CentOS also it is yum only. Okay. So anything that you want to install, okay, or update, you just need to preempt with the relevant package manager. Okay. Here you can say apt-get or apt, depending upon the version of Ubuntu or whatever, Debian. Okay. My notes also is increasing. Okay. Okay. We spoke about something called as ID. Okay. Next. ch on is okay. Okay. Good to go. Now I have a question for you guys. How many of you practiced yesterday's commands? You're able to successfully do. How do you delete a group? How do you delete a group that is created? Yesterday's is question. Rm minus Rf is for file deletion, group name deletion. Yesterday we created a group called Vesva, remember?
Yeah.
Huh?
User tell.
User tell. What does it do?
Delete the
Username. I'm asking about group. Del grp. That is a wrong command. That is where I'm coming to. So you people didn't practice yet. The command itself is wrong. The command is group, GROUP-DEL, and then the group name. Okay. So we had a group called Vesva that is created yesterday. Okay. So group, del, and the name. Okay. This is the way to delete. Maybe that. Oh, I'm in Ubuntu user, right? I have to use it either as root or else use sudo group del. See, the moment I give group D tab, it is filling automatically, which means this is the right command. But if I give del gr delete group, there is another, but not grp. Okay, and then Vesva, removing group Vesva done. Okay, this is the command you can take, or else you can say group del and then the Vesva. But what does it say now? Group is not existing. It's already deleted. Okay, either you can use one of these, but not grp. Yesterday, my bad was. Okay, so group del. Okay, so this is also that what we discussed about chmod, UGO, user, group, and others, and how do we give permissions to all these three people, and then we'll talk about redirection today. Okay. Suppose difference between RPM and apt, that is what, depending upon the flavor of Linux installed, you have to use an appropriate packaging manager. Okay, for Ubuntu you should use apt as the packaging manager. For Red Hat you have to use RPM. Okay, RPM, Red Hat package managers, right? I have written yum. Okay, thanks. Red Hat package managers are for RPMs. Red Hat package manager, the name itself says it is for Red Hat. Okay, so for CentOS it is YUM. Full form is Yellow Dog Update Managers or Manager something. Okay, that is the way I recall all. Okay, so is that doubt clarified? Whoever asked, Nandish. Okay, fine. So are there any questions before we talk something else? Group del group name, that's correct. Del group is the wrong command. Okay, fine. So sorry. Okay, suppose I execute some ls command. What is happening right now is the output is pasted on the console itself. Okay, but if my interest is to save the data for later use, ls is okay. It's a very basic command. Even if it pops out on the screen, gets it saved somewhere else, I'm all fine. But there would be some times where you execute some statement or command, but the output needs to be saved onto a file for reuse at a later time. Okay, so you need to capture all that data and save it to a file. One alternative is whatever is being populated on the screen, you can copy paste this way, create a file using Vim and say some text file and then say insert save. Okay, but I don't want to do all this process, right? There should be a simple way for me. That simple way is nothing but redirection. Redirecting the output that is printed on the console or on the screen, or the much more professional way to say is std output, right? So anything that is printed on the screen needs to be captured or redirected to a file. Okay, so that is the time I use this arrow operator. One single arrow operator, you can say arrow operator will create a file if not existing and paste the content also as a fresh thing. Suppose that if I have 1.txt this way, the output of ls command gets redirected to 1.txt. Okay, now are you able to see the output of ls command? No, but where is the data being captured? In 1.txt. So I can say cat 1.txt now. Okay, 1.txt. The same output gets printed on the screen. The next thing is ls will not show me permissions anyway. If it was my interest, I should say ls minus lrt arrow mark to some text file. Color, it's a normal text file now. That color code and all won't come now. Okay, all that my interest is to capture the data. Okay, not to analyze what kind of file, what kind of data it is and all. Okay, it is because of the command that you are typing, you are thinking, okay, it should be green, yellow, red, or whatsoever. But my interest is not to save ls command output. It's an example for you. Okay. The next thing that I wanted to continue is what I forgot. Okay, each time I execute some command and then say with a single arrow mark to the same file. Okay, suppose I run some other command as ls minus lrt now and give only one arrow mark, and that means one redirect operator, and then push my data to 1.txt. What happens? Execution happens, but overwriting happens. Okay, you see this 1.txt. Now you will get the permissions and all, but not the color because it's a plain text file. Okay, next. But what happened to just the file names that were populated before this one? It's all gone. So understand that with one arrow mark, which is one arrow mark if I give and the text file name, every time it overwrites the data. But my interest is to append, suppose. Okay, what I have to do? ls redirected to 1.txt. Okay, again I am overwriting it, and again ls minus lrt double arrow mark means append, okay, and then say the same file name 1.txt. Okay, now you see the cat output of 1.txt. You will have all. Okay, this is the ls output. That is the basic command. For suppose if you want to use something like that, what I wanted to, okay, who users, use a file. Who gives me this output? Some output, right? But if I want to push this data also to a file called users, something as my example tool. So I'll just use this and then say users. Okay. Another file is created. Now if my interest is to capture also who am I's output, another command is there, right? Who am I? I want to append the data. Same thing. Okay. That's the usage. Okay. Both the output will be there. Okay. That is the use of redirection operator. When will redirection operator help you in your real time? This is very basic, but think through in real life. In your daily corporate world, if you are running some execute of a command, lengthier build process, you want to capture the build, each step by step, whatever logging that you want to do, you want to redirect to a file. You will use this operator to redirect the log. Right? Java compiles something, Maven as a utility compiles something, your Java source code, but you want to capture each substep of what it compiles, what binary it is generating, where it is copying, where the build is being deployed. All that log redirection should happen through redirect operators. This is the operator that you use. Okay, and then okay, this is all basically. Okay, there is one important thing to capture here. There is something called as 2 greater than ampersand 1. What does that mean?
Standard error.
Standard error and standard output. Correct. What is standard error? What is standard output? Next question.
Like if I'm executing some command, it is giving some error messages.
Okay.
Then I will return it to.
Oh, the answer is already there for you. That is why you are able to say.
No.
I generally write this kind of text and keep on saving, so other people will be able to read it. Okay. There is something called std in as well. There is something called as std out. There is something called as err. The first one speaks about standard input. Something you are typing on the screen using a keyboard, that is your input hardware. In hardware also there are input devices, there are output devices. There is something which you are able to see on the screen, which is, we call it out as output, and then some error logging and all. Okay, so std in is for input. Okay, but my interest is not about how I feed in some input to my system, right? My input is not about my botheration. All I am worried about is my output, how my execution is happening, how I am able to capture the data. So all that is captured in on the screen, which is nothing but std out, or else into some logging file called as std err. All the error statements go there, warnings and all. Correct? So this 1 and 2 represents that. 2 means std out, 1 means std err. Okay, so what does this ampersand say? And. Okay, capture both. So what I am trying to do here, redirect and append to one file itself. Okay, that is the understanding. 2 greater than ampersand 1 means break the entire thing. 2 is 1, 1 is 1, standard error. I want to redirect everything into one file only, right? But if I do this, what happens? It will redirect is fine, but it will not append. It will create a fresh file for me, right? But my interest is not to create a fresh file and all. My interest is to append the data. So I will use something called as AND operator. And ampersand here means AND operator. Okay. If I give only ampersand, what happens? Another question. There is something called as only ampersand. Background process. Run as a background process, which I should not be seeing on the screen. I execute some command, but that program runs in its own time, in its own pace. but I can do some other parallel job during that time.
Yeah, whatever you are reading.
For that, I use something called as foreground and background, which is nothing but FG and BG. Foreground means something I'm seeing on the screen, which I'm working right now. Background means run on the background, don't show me on the screen. Okay?
Yeah, I remember. We are using no and
Recording. Okay? No hub will come. Okay? So that is the time when I use foreground and background along with a background operator, this one. Which means like run in background. Don't run my programs on the screen right now. Run in the background daemon mode kind of. Not daemon exactly. Run in the background. Okay. So this is another thing that you need to know. Okay. So okay. I'm just checking the messages, processes consuming high memory. No, that's an example, Andesh. Once I talk about TS command and all, I'll tell you which process is taking or consuming more memory and all. For that, I'll come to it later.
No. Actually, can you come again with that ls command to redirection operator ampersand and one? I didn't get.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. Suppose I have some command like this. If I run this command alone, what happens? It shows me some output. This is output is nothing but what we call it out as std out. Okay. If there are any errors during your program execution, that is captured in your std error file. Okay. And remember that these files are like populated, but you can't see them because they get flushed out also immediately after your program execution. So there is no way that you can capture as a text file and save it for long-term use, right? So that is why you use something like this. You run this particular command, redirect that output to a temporary null location. This is also a temporary location, but you capture which kind of output? Output as well as error. Okay, so output is 2, 1 is error. Capture that output both in parallel. That is why AND operator. Okay, now if I enter, you will not see anything. But if you open something like devnull or something, you will be able to see. Not insert home. Something you have with root. Okay, it's not captured. It's a directory. Okay, it's a temporary thing, right? You will not be able to see so, or else you can do one thing. You can put it in temp location. Okay, temp is also another directory, which is also equally flushed out like cache. Immediately it goes off after some half an hour, 1 hour. But you can redirect to this location. Okay, with some file name 1.txt something. Okay, now you open this file. Get something. Okay, but you will not be able to see this output just like a normal text file because this gets cleaned up. TMP is for temp. Okay, temp will get cleaned off as soon as you kill this session or something like that. Faster. It's like faster access, faster deletion. Okay, that's the use of this location. Okay, the next thing that I wanted to show you folks is header, tail. These all fine, more or less who are my filters. Pipes are also covered. Which, okay, which is another interesting command which tells me, suppose I installed a utility and it is available. I right now tested Vim. Okay, Vim is one utility or a binary, we can say. Yesterday, whoever can recall that circles, hardware, kernel, shell, outside I put something called as utilities. All the utilities are available. But for me as a person, as a human being, it's very hard to recall where I installed which utility in my system, right? So there should be a command which will help me out with the path where I installed Vim, where I installed CP, where I installed man, something of that sort. Suppose like if I have a command called which, CP command itself, but I don't know the exact path, right? I use CP. It will tell me /bin/CP. But recall, never we gave full path /bin/cp and then the exact command as arguments and all. We were straight away using cp. Okay. Binary is available, right? Which cp? You are able to work with cp as well, right? So what this command helps you with, where a particular utility or a binary is installed. Suppose tomorrow you install Vim, Jenkins or whatsoever. Your botheration is only about installation, but after 10 days you realize which path I have installed Jenkins. I need to use recall now. Which command will help you? Which Jenkins will help you? Okay. There is another called as locate as well, but it will tell you like this. It's very hard to figure out where you install Vim. All the words with Vim will get popped out on the screen. It might be a binary, it might be a file also. Okay, but if you know for sure that it is a binary and you need to know the exact path where it is installed, that time which, or else if you don't know, locate. Okay, there is something called varies as well, but it will tell you also all the environment variables in front and tell you, see, vim.tiny, vim.basic, all these are different versions which is available in this particular system at all. But the binary that you are bothered is this. Getting it? So that's the way. So for me, if you ask me which command is more beneficial, you have to take a call. Are you looking for a binary? First thing, yes. Okay. If yes, go run which command. If you don't know whether it's a binary or a normal file, but it is something related to Vim binary only or utility or something, then varies. Okay. If I don't know whether it's a binary, text file, Perl file, Python file, whatever it is, but my name should be something similar to Vim, right? That is the time I use locate. Appropriate time, appropriate command. Okay. So this is one thing that you can use. Okay. Any questions online? Okay, I hope so. There are nothing. So I'll progress further. So pipes is covered, word count is covered. Okay. Getent is another thing. Getent will tell you or result out who are all the users who are using this present particular system or user accounts whosoever is being provided in this particular system. You will be able to know through this getent thing. There is another called as /etc/password, right? Both are the same. One is a wrapper script to something else, but this is also one good utility. But if you run this command, what happens? It will tell you all the users who are right now running some process or some job in this particular Ubuntu machine. Remember that these are not the people who you created alone or who the system gave you for usage. For you to use it is Ubuntu or else root. There will be something called root as well somewhere here. Okay, so there are only few people whom you log into or sudo yourself as and run some executions. Okay, but there are people like this man, mail, all these people, they have individual jobs to do. Okay, they will only do that particular job that it is meant to be or created for. Okay, so something like daemon is one user who will only run daemon jobs in the machine. He is not bothered about creation of file, directory, running a Perl file, Python file and all. That is why we are never logged in as daemon or anything as such. Okay, all these people should be untouched also. You should not sudo as them and all. I believe you can't as well. Okay, if it is very well protected, you can't even sudo as those particular users. Okay, so just remember that this is one command which will help me fetch all the users. Okay, this is one use case where we can talk about pipes. Okay, how many users are logged in or registered in this particular user in this Linux box, whatever. Okay, so if I run this command, it will tell me how many users are available. 30 users are there. but out of which we are only using two, root and Ubuntu. Or if there is any person who is created, additional those people. Okay. Next, all this we covered echo, but we didn't cover cut. Cut is something like filter. Okay. Suppose echo hello. Before I proceed to echo command, any doubts until now? Online classroom. Wake him up. Already sleeping. Okay. No doubts. Okay. Now. Okay. Fine. Echo hello. What does it do? It will print the full word called hello. Right. My interest is, see, this topic is all about filtering, or what do I say, cut short of what the output it is displaying on the screen. So I will talk about grep, awk, sed, cut. Okay. Awk is about awk full form. There is no full form for awk. Actually, there are three inventors who combinedly came up with that kind of utility. Person's first letter in their names, they brought it up and then said awk. Okay. Sed. Streamline editor. Text is a free flow of characters. So that is what we say it as stream. Stream, water flowing in a river and all. That is what we call it out as stream, right? So here also a text or a paragraph or something is to be treated as continuation of characters, which is like flowing in a stream. That is why stream editor or streamline, whatever. Stream editor is what we call. Okay, that is why stream editor, in short, it is said. Grep. E-grep. Huh? Extended grep. F-grep. File grep. Okay, so there are all these commands that will help you cut the output that you are seeing on the screen. Suppose getInt itself, it is showing you this much of output, but your interest is to see only the first column or fifth column or only that first two lines. We are using head command and all. We will be using the same things in combination now. Okay, but my interest is only to populate first row or first column, 10th column of that sort, so that it becomes meaningful for me to use further. Okay, so the first command that I will teach you about is cut. Okay, so I need to cut the word hello to H alone, which means the first column. I have 5 columns here, H being the first column, second being E, L being third, O being fifth. Right? So what do I do? Hyphen C1, which means column 1. Okay, so the very simple thing is, I am very lazy guy, so I'll just do this. Okay, what does this command do? Echo hello will print hello, but I need to give that output as input to my cut command. That is why the pipe came into picture. Okay, whether you give a space in between or not, it doesn't matter. Okay, the same command you can type this as well, but the output remains the same. There is no meaning for zero in mathematics. Similarly, there is no meaning for space in Linux. Okay, unless until you have something in mind as meta character to be done with something. Okay, you're getting it. Cut will cut the word that is being printed on the screen, or it should print on the screen. But what to cut, how much to cut, that is to be told. Okay, I have to cut first column, that is why C1. Okay, done. Now my interest is to cut the last one. C5. Okay, now I have a doubt. Should I? It won't work. Okay, what I was trying to do is regex expression, that is different use case, but remember the disadvantages of cut. If there are 5 characters, I will be able to count and say, okay, 5th character, it is easily countable. Suppose I have 500 characters, but I don't know the exact count. What do I do? Just now we learned about word count minus C, right? Number of characters. I can use that one. But suppose that command itself is not striking to my head during the time of interview. I can suggest the interviewer something like regex expression. Dollar means end of the string, something of that sort. So that gave me a trigger to type dollar, but actually cut doesn't take that argument. It takes a value. Okay, so this is one disadvantage of cut. Why we use regex expression or grep operator or grep utility. Okay, so dollar doesn't work. We have to say 5. Okay, then you will see something called as O. Okay, fine. Now my other interest is this one is pretty simple. I don't want to print, but I want to cut the fourth this thing. But all that I did as a difference is having this double quotation. Remember that without quotes or single quotes or double quotes, meaning is the same. To group some characters as a string, all that I can use is without quotes, with single quotes, with double quotes. So then why we have all this nonsense for us? Why do we have to remember all that?
When we are using like some special character in the statement, that time we are using like double quotes. Like
You heard of variable interpolation? In scripting, we have to use print statements, and then if we have double quotes only, it will print. So at that time, it makes more meaningful. Else, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, so remember that only in programming, I have to make it out a call specifically double quotes if I want to print the value of a variable. But right now, it is of no use to me. So you use the just the plain word or single quote or double quote. Doesn't make any difference for you right now. Okay, but now all that you have to bother about is this 1 to 5, which means first to fifth character range. For range, I have to say hyphen. Okay, but the argument remains the same, column or count, I think. Okay, it remains the same. The way to use makes a difference. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll see this one. This is F means field. Okay, so if in my output, if my interest, okay, is to cut the first field or something. F is field only, right? What is the print meaning here? Where did I use print here? No. I was uttering a word called print during the time of scripting, not here. If in case if I have to take this echo word or some command and put it in my bash script or shell script and put some variables to be printed on the screen or into a text file, that is the time I have to use a double quote. Alok, you are getting it? I don't have anything called print in my notepad file or the command set. It is very minimal. But I am telling you of a use case where this double quote makes a use case kind of appropriate use case. Okay, but for now it doesn't make any difference between without quotes, single quotes, and double quotes.
All right.
Getting it? Okay, fine. So, okay, we are coming to this one. Okay, F is for field number, not field name. Okay, fine. So, what does this output show? Echo this one. Till now we are fine. It cuts something. What it is cutting? The entire thing it treats as one string. Even if I have spaces, it doesn't treat that as columns. Okay, so field means complete thing. Okay, so that is why it prints as is without even cut. But now D means delimiter. Do I have that example with me? Yes. Okay, now if I do this copy paste, what does it do for me? Delimiter is something like this, the character that I'm highlighting right now. Okay, space, okay, or underscore, or anything that I have as a meta character, special character. Okay, if I want to cut until that particular character being used. That is what I provide in my delimiter. Here my delimiter says nothing, null. Why? There is not even a space. If I provide a space, it means that it is a space. If I don't provide anything, it's a null. Null means has nothing, not zero. Null is not equal to zero. Remember, zero is the value. Null is nothing. It's kind of a vacuum. Okay. So if I execute this one, what happened? Oh, it should be huh? double quote, but I need to mention what delimiter it is. Okay. So if I have to say this one with the space, that time it will what it does. Here I see I have a space in between after O and before yes. So it will treat that, okay, I have to cut this word. This becomes my first field now. Okay. If suppose if I have a delimiter as colon, but do I have colon in my string here? No, but I can still use hyphen. Relevant ones we have to use, else it will print everything, or it will say I didn't find the delimiter that is being used by you. Okay, depends upon the flavor again. Okay, field means the entire thing that you see in the double quotes. Entire thing is treated as one field. Okay, just like your Excel sheets, columns and all, right? This is also similar. Okay, suppose this hyphen. I told you before, if I see something as hyphen, I can put it. Okay. Something if I have a database like students database, employee database, these commands make more sense for me. Okay. So try to execute one or two by creating some lengthier strings, employee number, employee name, employee group, something and all, and then try to cut the fields and all by using a cut operator. Okay. You will come to know when to use what. Okay, fine. So these all commands are the same thing, but here I will tell you an appropriate command which will help you understand much better. The getEnt password as one single command was typing you the whole garbage kind of a text on the screen with some delimiter called colon, right? But if my interest is to cut the first field which speaks about only the usernames, right? That is the time I use cut this operator, which is colon, and then say first field. Then the output looks very simple. It is the same output as you saw here from here, but after the first occurrence of colon, it will not print because this becomes my first field then in each line. Getting it? So that is the appropriate use cases in programming you can use this way. Okay. C is for column, F is for field number. Okay. Now, any questions till now? Nothing? Okay. Online? You're all good? Okay, fine. So we'll talk about something called as truncate or translate. Okay. In general, English meaning truncate or translate means change. Okay, I have something with me, change that to something else. Flip over, that also I can think of. Okay, change or flip to something else. Okay, now what to flip? Some data needs to be there. How do I pass on that data till now? Echo command, echo some data. So until here you should not see any difference, right? Now what to truncate here is, if I have some space here, but if I want to see the output as hello hyphen everyone, hello hyphen something, right? Instead of single quote double spaces, instead of single quote double quotes, anything that I want to transpose, I use transpose command along with what to replace with what was there previously to what do I have to replace with. Just like source CP source target, I need to have something to be changed, something as output to be seen, right? So that is the truncate. Okay, if I execute this, what happens? The space that you get to see here will replace with a tilde sign. Okay, nothing else it will happen. See, okay, that is the use of truncate or translate. Now, special character is fine, but if I want to do a change to the character itself, can I do? Yes, same command, no difference. Whether I see a meta character or a special character or a normal character, the usage remains the same. Okay, so that is why if I want to replace E with capital E, okay, remember here it's not the first occurrence of small e, occurrences of all the small letter E's in the entire string. Okay, so that is why everywhere I see a small e, it will get replaced with capital E here, here, here as well, and here as well. Okay, but you can control this kind of output behavior using a regex expression. At the start of string itself, do something. At the end of string only, do something. Okay, these are all the disadvantages because of which new tools have come. Right? Why unnecessary, or else I have to mug up all these commands. Correct? So there should be some use, some disadvantage with the old tool, and some advantage with the new tool. Correct? So these are other ones. So if someone asks me why I have to use regex and all, first thing is faster execution. Second thing is these kind of situations. Getting it? Next. Suppose I want to shrink huge number of spaces in between, or if I have something called as ease like this, what do? I need to have some provision, right? So that is what I pass as an argument to truncate, saying shrink all the extra spaces that you see. Sorry?
They convert all the spaces into one.
Into one space. Repetition of characters, it will all get cut into one single character. Getting it? So all that I have to do is for you, I have n number of spaces in between. I don't know how many they are, but everything gets converted to one space. Okay. Anything else I have to tell? Okay. This is again pipe. After I get some output, okay, I again use some delimiter like spaces and cut some field, third field only. Okay, here I'm trying to print only what would be the output? Can someone guess? Hi, because it is the third field, right? So all that I do is this. If I have just this command, think through, it will print everything. Just because I have this, it will shrink all the white spaces that I see here to a single space. After that, my delimiter is space, okay, and cut which field? Third field. So my output would be hello space, everyone space hi, and my field 3 in that output is hi. So only hi gets printed. Okay, that is why that is how you analyze the output. Okay, I'll come to sticky bit later. There is a folder that we spoke about previously called /tmp temp folder, but temp folder is not a folder that is available only for you. It is given for wide usage for everyone to use. But if you want to control that particular folder, like you suppose save some file, like before I tried to save like 1.txt or something into the temp directory. You come tomorrow and clean off the temp. My file is lost, right? But if I want to make sure that my file is not lost, I use some special bit called sticky bits. I'll tell how to use with a -d operator, but it's advanced right now. Don't go into it. Okay, but remember the usage. Okay, I'll come to it again. Okay, uname minus ram is all done. Manual is done. Okay. Any questions until line number 152 in my notepad screen? All good. All good at 9:22. Are you all good at 9:29? Huh? That's the question to ask, right? Yes, perfect. Anyone else who joined online can tell me the same way? I believe so. Okay, so next topic would be, what is the difference between sudo and su? Interesting question, right? Both are the same, but what is sudo? When do we use it? When do we use su? The answer is already on the screen. You can read and say as well. Okay. No, not that way. Just think through your command executions only till now. Suppose Ubuntu user wants to execute something as root, but I don't want to switch my profile, which means that I don't want to entirely become as root. Okay, get into the root or home directory of root and then execute that command. I just want to figure out whether some command is working for me or not. That is the time I will use temporary usage, what you see, right? So that is the time when you say sudo some command, first usage. Second thing, if you want to run some command with an elevated privilege, okay, suppose I told you root should be the user by default who can install you or who can help you with installing some tool by default, or you blindly go with root, and then that is the time you go su-i or something, or sudo-i, switch completely as root user and use some apt something and all rest of it. But think through in the process what happened. You completely became Ubuntu to root. Your user got completely switched, right? But my intention is not to change, but get to run only one command, okay, and see whether it is true or false, or output is working or not, or something of that sort. Temporary, 1 minute or 1 second. For that reason, why do I have to switch myself? Right? Makes sense? So that is the time when we use sudo versus su. Su means super user. Sudo means, or su means which user. Sudo means super user do. Okay, that is also one more difference. Okay, switch user, elevated privileges, and user password is what I told. Okay, so this is the knowledge I have. If you have any extended knowledge, you can share. I will write it out in my notes as well. Okay, getting it? Anything else? Any
Nirmal,
questions?
I have.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
Just I have a confusion. Suppose I logged in as a user here. Suppose I use sudo command. I installed a tree command. Okay,
You installed as
anything
well
other
with.
tree package with
Okay.
sudo. Suppose
Okay.
is that a tree package is available only for user A, or suppose it is available for user B also.
You mean to say the tree command, right?
Yeah, any
The
command.
tree, if it
If
is
you,
there, have you given the permissions for B to use in his environment?
no, I didn't give. He's a separate user.
Okay. But when you install a utility, where will it go and sit in general?
It will go into my profile
Not profile, /bin,
/bin.
right? It's a binary that you are installing. Tree,
Okay.
vim, all those things are binary. So all those things get installed in a default location called /bin /something or /etc something,
Okay.
right? So, but
Yeah.
are you controlling bin directory as a user?
No. No.
No, it is open for all, which means what? Even if you give that privilege or not, he will be able to use it,
Okay.
right?
Then what is the purpose
That's
of logging into root
logging into
root to
root.
install any package?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some config changes that root as a user does. But if you want to do and have control of that config related changes, that is the time you install as yourself. Suppose you are installing Java,
Okay.
but you don't want to roll out Java for the entire organization.
Okay.
You want to install something only for your test reasons. Do you want to roll it out that package for complete usage? No. So that is the time you use only for yourself. You have control of your config related changes, right? If you want to install 10 Java versions, my organization gives only Java 1.8, 1.11. But if my interest is to do legacy versions of installations as well, 1.7, 1.6, how do I do that one? And make it not available for the rest of the organization to use? getting the use, right? Use cases. Those are the times when you need to make a call, when to become as root, when not to become as root. Okay, and few things like Vim, those don't require much of a config changes. It's a basic Vim text editor, right? Even if you become as root or not, also it doesn't really matter, right? So that those kind of utilities are free flowing, right? Nothing much of a botheration, or it doesn't impact anything that is being installed elsewhere. Dependency programs and all we call, those and all will not get impacted. So you have to take a call whether to be as root or not to be as root. What am I trying to do in production versus test versus pre-prod versus dev environment or QA environment? There are so many environments which our friend Adam will speak in the next couple of weeks. But for now, for you to understand, there are so many environments to take care of as a DevOps unit, right? You need to take appropriate call, deciding upon what I am trying to achieve at the end of this installation. Okay, that's the thing. Next,
Thank you.
there is something very important like passwordless SSH, which I don't want to finish off in this 10 minutes time, because I want you to understand command by command. Why am I doing this RSA key generation? Why am I copying this public or public key to something else and all? Why is the usage of PEM key so important, right? So I don't want to get into these details right now. Okay, but the usage in short to explain right now in this class is, all the time I don't want to provide my password once I want to log in into some machine. There should be some provision where my password is pre-saved. Just remember the PEM key file that I used to use in my AWS account. I just say connect, and there is a PEM key that I'm already holding it here. This file is available in my SSH keys directory, which I'm making sure that I'm reusing it multiple times. This is providing the kind of password without me giving another time or passing the password again and again. Each time I log in, this is the password being used. Getting it? That is the use case of passwordless SSH. How do we achieve it? I will tell you in my next class. Okay? Or after you are comfortable with some basic Linux and all. Okay? So I'll push that to a later moment. Package managers and all we have spoken about. Services we have spoken about. Okay. Cut command is done. Now we'll go to something called as find. Find is also interesting command, which we can finish off in the next 15 minutes or so. Okay. Think what we have achieved in our cut command. Okay. For cut command, we gave an input as some echo of a word, which is nothing but a string. Okay, fine. Which means what? You are trying to play around with the content of the file or text, right? But are you able to have a control or handle the file name itself? No. Something like 1.txt, 2.txt, are you able to have a grip on that particular file names at all? No. That is what find will help you with. Okay. Cut will tell you about the content, data residing inside a file. Okay. Even the grep, it is trying to figure out something inside a file or group of files, but not a file name as a whole. Okay, so find will tell you with the various arguments that you are passing, whether if it is a directory or a file or what type of file it is, whether it's a movie file or whatsoever. There are hundreds of arguments that you can pass, but basic understanding of find command tells you that this command is only helpful when you want to have a grip or a handle on file names alone. Okay, I'll tell you through one simple example. Suppose that I want to figure out, there is one directory called GFG that we created in our example yesterday. Are we still having it? Yes, we have that GFG. Okay, good. I want to figure out whether the directory GFG that I have it right now is empty or not. Okay, only if it is empty, tell me, else don't tell me. Okay, so if that is my interest, what I will try to do, I will use a command called find and then say dot. Why dot? In my current, not present working directory, in my current directory. Okay, look for a directory called GFG and then say look for whether it is empty or not. That is the understanding of this command. Okay, find is the utility or the command. Okay, the arguments that I am trying to pass to this particular command is dot, means current directory. Okay, and then look for a directory name called gfg. Inside gfg, is it empty or not? Getting it? So if I copy paste this one, you see the output how it behaves. Yes, demo 1 is empty, demo 3 is also empty, but demo 2, why? What happened to demo 2? Sorry, we have something called sample.txt. It's not empty, right? That is why it didn't show you. So now understand by this output that we are trying to control the directory names here, not the content in a file. Previously, we were able to control what is residing inside sample.txt or echo some data. Correct? That is the exact difference. At the very high level. Okay. Through the passage of arguments, we are able to print some things we are not able to print and all. Okay. That is different. But the find command as a whole will help you identify the folders alone or directories alone and tell you according to your need what it is. Need in the sense like usage, whatever is your ask. Okay. So here my name should be sample.txt. If it has that one, print, else don't print. Okay, the rest of it is same. Look in the current directory, look into gfg, look into a name called sample.txt. Okay, now it will speak about demo 2 alone. It will not speak about demo 1 and 2. Why? What happened? I am in a wrong directory. Can I use exclamatory mark now? First word is what I said. I don't want to type the entire command. Like yesterday, we had only LL or something, which you felt very short. This is one good example. I don't want to type the entire thing. I just want to use the first find. Now you see the output. This is the command it executed, but I gave a very short name here. The command it executed is this. The output is this, right? In the output, notice that it is not talking anything about the content in sample.txt. I don't know whether if it is empty file or if it has some data, but it is not talking about content inside it. It is talking only about the file name or directory name, right? And now, next thing. If I have anything called as star.txt, which means what? Any text file, doesn't matter to me. Print everything. 1.txt, 2.txt, 3.txt, sample.txt, everything. That is why star is used. Star is for all. This is another regular expression character. Okay. So star.txt is for all. In my example, I had only one text file. That is why it is showing this one. If I create something else, it will show that as well. Okay. And now, understood till here? Okay. Now I'll go a little bit deeper. I'll go something deeper in the sense, something more. Till now it is understood, right? Now, what is the output of sample.txt? Whether a file called sample.txt is available or not? Yes. But if I want to execute some command over the file name that is returned, right? I can use pipe as well, because the output of this command is fed as something else to my second command when I use the pipe. But my pipe should have what? If I have to remove something, see, my output of this command was telling me sample.txt. But if my intention is to remove the text itself, rm minus or rm sample.txt, right?
Yeah.
Same thing here. Instead of using pipe, I am executing a command called rm in interactive mode. Why this bracket? This bracket is for the output that is being fetched as execution of this command.
That is the placeholder.
Yes, placeholder in the sense for them. Right now it is like output. Don't confuse from now. It is like for them output. Output of this command is given as input to what? Rm file name, right? Rm 1.txt, Rm something else. That all that grouping. Right now only it is one. Why? it is sample.txt one, only one file. But if I have something like star, if it results out 10 text files, all text files will get removed in a single shot by executing some command. That is why he was telling this as a placeholder. But for you, it is kind of a stub or output. Output of what? This first command. Okay, remember the same can be achieved using pipe rm some file name. But disadvantage, why am I using exec? Two advantages are there. First is execution time. Exec command is faster. Second thing is rm. rm1 space 2 space 3 space, like this I have to give the whole command. I have to frame the whole command, which means it takes time for framing my command as well. Here it is straightforward. rm interactive, whatever be the output, don't care, run that command, that's all. Right? In that way I am trying to automate. I am not feeding that 1 2 3 also. Appropriate use case, if I want to remove all the log files which are like piled up since some 1 month's time or something, log files will have extension called star.log, whatever it is, file name, some file name .log. So I can use star.log here in the place of star.txt. All my log files get generated, populated using the rm command. Once for all, remove. You can go for coffee break and come back, by which time it will delete everything for you. Right? So that is the usage. Okay, but if you don't want to take a break, sit before system and see what it is to do, what it is doing and all, that is the time you need to use rm and a pipe. Okay, this is what is automation. You need to automate things using the same basic commands only, put it in proper fashion, generate a small script, run it, you enjoy your life. Okay, that's it. All this will be coming back again during our shell scripting time. Okay, next. Okay, for the time being, don't bother about grep. But for people who have some understanding of what a grep will do, grep, I am trying to search this one in some output of all the text files that it is generating. But understand that I'm using something called as type F, which means file. It's not a directory. If I use D, it is directory. If I use F, it is file. Okay, but for now, don't bother about the rest of the command, only bother about this one. What it does, it prints all the files with extension called txt. Okay, here. In files also, I have MP3s, MP4s, PDFs, PPTs, all those things. My botheration is to filter only file types in the beginning. After that, only txt. Okay, and also remember the place where I am searching also in my current directory for now. After a little while, I have some examples which will do for home directory. You can put whatever it is, definition, where you want to search and all. But dot means current directory. Slash means root user ka. Remember, the way you use, where you are using, how much of data it will populate, depending on that, my execution time also depends. Okay, and when you use rm command, be sure that you are running at the location that you want. Once it is gone, it is irrecoverable. Getting it? So when you execute this commands at any time, rethink whether I am doing the right task. That okay. Before you run rm, or what I try to do is I create only 5 files or something in an empty directory or test directory or something. I execute this command and see how that output behaves, and then I take that command and make it to work on my thousands of real-time this thing, dev environment or whatever, especially with rm. Okay, other things, even if it runs, doesn't run, we can come back to that same thing. But rm, it's not that way. Okay, that next. Okay, we talked about something called as file type as normal file. We are already at 9:50. Okay, so there is something called as file permission that we spoke about yesterday, 777, 755 and all. So what does this do? it will only speak about files which have permission called 664. Okay, this we already spoke, all the text files. This is only test.txt in specific. I don't want sample.txt. I don't want 1.txt. I am giving the file name that I want to search as well. Rest of the command is all understandable, right? Next, what is this semicolon doing here? If I want to execute this command as one command, wait for the output to complete, and then run this as my second command, I can do. Else, run both in one line itself, one after another, not parallel, one after another. After this is complete, this will start its execution. Okay, command is the same, but understand here again, slash is root, but I am giving slash opt slash user slash var slash home, which means 4 different directories. You search in first opt, next search in user, okay, next in var, next in home for all the file types with .txt. Okay, and the file type should be F, not a directory. Anyway, it is text only. You can pass on another argument. Even if you don't pass also, it doesn't make any difference here. Okay, the next thing, see here, type directory, not on file names. Okay, GFG is one directory name. Okay, demo1, demo2, all those are directory names. Sample.txt is file, not directory. It's a sample.txt is a file, but that is only to our understanding, you and me. But for Linux, everything is a file. There is no directory for Linux. Okay. Next, I forgot about iname. There is one this thing. I'll share this file anyway. What you do is go read the man page of find, explore. Okay. To be frank enough, I too forgot about iname. We don't use that much. inode is different. Inode is the number. Name itself, I think, or else it is a insert character in Linux. Something it went wrong also. I think it's name only, or else. Just check that one, or else I'll check and confirm you tomorrow. And then here it is star.html, another file type, except that there is nothing. But understand that I passed a variable called not, which means what? If I don't pass this not, what happens? It searches for all the HTML files. But now, except star.html, whatever, if it is HTML, don't bother. Rest of it, you bother and show me. Okay, so it will show me PDF, it will show me text file, it will show me all your movie files, audio files, everything, except to HTML. Okay, so that is the usage of not. Okay, there is something, this will come to it later. This is something related to C programming and all with the 2 names. I'll come to it later. Interesting thing to finish off is this one, modified time. When you create a file, it gives you some timestamp. You modify that file, it will again update that file with the today's timestamp, just like how you modify your Microsoft Word or whatever, right? Whenever you say Control S, the timestamp gets updated. Created time is different, modified time is different. Okay, M time means modified time. Okay, so modified in the last 7 days. Okay, my modified time in the last 7 days, and it should be a directory. That is the meaning of this command. Okay, that's all, guys. There is nothing specific or very different use case. Okay, locate where is already I covered in the beginning. Where is locate, all these are for searching for binaries or else files. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, next we can go for sed tomorrow. Okay, but what you will do for me tomorrow, after you go back home, there should be some half-an-hour task. For half an hour, go read the man page of find. It is a frequent command which we use in our daily organization, in our daily life. Okay, so must and should, at least the ones that I pointed out in this notepad is okay, but at least go open how that man command works. You should know something of that sort. Today it is find. Okay, but if you don't know about some other command, you should know about man command, how it works, how do you quit that file and all, right? So go and explore the find command as a way of manual. Don't Google. Google is very straightforward. Okay, it will show you the same output, but I don't want that. Okay, go read the manual, understand how it is written, what it does, what are the parameters it will work with, all those things. Okay, and then whatever we discussed till now, recall everything. Okay, I'll probably share by end of demo. I'm going running short of time, but I'll share it by afternoon by evening. But half an hour is all it takes, because we have executed, you have seen the output, you know, have as an understanding what each command does. Okay, all that you need to do is read the man page and read through the sample text commands and all. Recall whatever you have written in your notes or whatsoever also is fine. Go memorize what we have done today in the class. If you don't do, you will forget. Okay, so again we will resume tomorrow. Okay, people who joined, yes Mithun, I will try to share, but I'm going to company to work now, right? So I can't open the machine there. So just allow time till evening, or before 6 o'clock I should do for you. Okay, use of slash for Nandish is to escape the meta characters. Okay, anything like space, hyphen, hash, at the rate, of those kind of characters. Okay, anything else, just post me in the group. If there is any difficulty, people not finding, or even if I share some people with some, is there any person with name this one, raise something, I didn't find his email appropriated, the mail bounced for me. This one, Muhammad Imam. Is there anyone who joined here today? Okay, if there is something wrong with this email account, something like I is extra or something like that, please correct me, because this mail bounced for me. This one I'm aware of. The rest of the people who haven't received anything as material, video or anything as such, drop an email or not an email, WhatsApp note or something. I'll go check and update as soon as possible, so that you get that material on time. Okay, people who have got, don't respond. Okay, people who haven't received only respond. Okay, that's all guys. Not able to install tree, where you are trying to install it as root, and then use an appropriate package manager. Yeah, but which flavor of Unix, which command? Is there any command that you can type for me quick? Which version of Ubuntu are you trying it out? Invalid operation tree. That's okay. Apt get install tree. All that is correct. Now it is done. Tree done. Okay, fine. So you now type tree and hit enter. Are you not able to see that output, or you are not able to see the tree? What do you mean? That's all. You are not able to see something like this, is what you mean? Okay, so one probable thing that it could happen is because you reboot the machine once again. Maybe it does something in the config or something. I'm not sure about, but tree command should not do anything. But if you installed it perfectly, just reboot the machine and then give it out a try. If you still face any difficulty, just ping me on the group chat or whatsoever. I'll help you out there. Okay, yeah, perfect, makes sense. And now I'm closing the session because I have to run now. I don't have time for any questions in the classroom or online. If you have anything specific while you're trying it out, things on your machines, if you face difficulty or have any questions, ping me in the group chat. Okay, I want collaboration first to be done between you people as a group. Understanding it, that is the principle, one principle or one value that DevOps speaks of out of the 4 principles. Okay, the first one at least we'll learn in the initial days. Okay, that's the easiest thing. Chalo guys, have a nice day. I'm just closing it off.